Oh my God, sir. Are you okay? Somebody help. Aaliyah Thompson dropped her worn-out purse and rushed toward the man who had collapsed on the bustling sidewalk of Harlem, New York. The man stirred, his lips trembling and eyes fluttering open for a brief second. Help, please, he gasped weakly. Before Aaliyah could respond, his eyes rolled back, and he slumped against the pavement, limp. Sir, sir, she shouted, tapping his shoulder with trembling hands. No response. She grabbed her phone and dialed 911, fingers shaking. Yes, I need an ambulance. Lenox Avenue and 125th Street. A man has collapsed. He's not responsive. Panic surged in her throat. Within minutes, sirens wailed and paramedics took over, loading him into the ambulance. The nurse turned to Aaliyah. You found him. Come with us. You might have seen what happened. She nodded, climbed in despite her exhaustion from a 12-hour shift at the diner, and the door slammed shut. The ride to Mount Sinai Hospital was a blur of beeps and commands. What Aaliyah Thompson didn't know, what she couldn't know, was that this simple act of kindness, this choice to help a stranger, would unravel the darkness in a billionaire's life and forever transform her own. If you feel for Aaliyah, hit like, subscribe to the channel, and comment where you're watching from and what time it is. Someone near you might be tuning in too. Aaliyah Thompson trudged down Lenox Avenue, her feet screaming from a 12-hour shift at the Greasy Spoon Diner where she slung hash and dodged grabby hands for tips that barely covered rent. The Harlem chill bit through her thin coat, but she pushed on, clutching her beat-up purse like it held the last scraps of her dignity. Snow flurries danced under the streetlights, turning the bustling sidewalk into a slippery mess. Folks hustled by, old-timers sipping coffee from styrofoam cups, kids blasting hip-hop from their phones. Nobody paying much mind to the world falling apart around them. Then she saw him, a middle-aged white guy in a sharp suit, staggering like he'd taken one too many hits. He clutched his chest, face pale as the snow piling up, and bam, he crumpled right there on the pavement, head smacking the concrete with a sickening thud. People kept walking, stepping around him like he was just another pothole in the road. Aaliyah froze for a split second, her heart jackhammering. Oh my God, sir, are you okay? Somebody help, she yelled, dropping her purse and rushing over, knees hitting the cold ground hard. The man stirred, his lips trembling, eyes fluttering open just a crack. Help, please, he gasped, voice barely a whisper, like the wind had stolen his breath. Aaliyah's hands shook as she leaned in closer. Up close, he looked fragile, despite the fancy threads. Polished shoes scuffed now, tie loosened like he'd been fighting some invisible demon. Sir, sir, she shouted, tapping his shoulder gently at first, then firmer. No response. His chest heaved in shallow jerks, then went still. Panic clawed up her throat. She'd seen enough street drama in Harlem to know this wasn't a drunk passing out. This was bad, real bad. She fumbled for her phone in her coat pocket, fingers numb from the cold. Come on, she muttered, dialing 911 with one hand while pressing the other to his neck, feeling for a pulse. It was faint, thready, like a whisper fading out. Yes, I need an ambulance. Lenox Avenue and 125th Street. A man has collapsed. He's not responsive. I think he's not breathing right. Her voice cracked, but she forced it steady. The operator fired questions, age, symptoms, location, and Aaliyah answered as best she could, her mind racing. Who was this guy? Some Wall Street hotshot slumming it uptown? Didn't matter. He was a person, and right now, he needed her. Memories flashed unbidden. Her mama, Olivia, collapsing in their tiny apartment years back after a double shift at the laundromat. Aaliyah had been 10, frozen in fear, until a neighbor burst in and took charge. That day stuck with her, a scar that never quite healed. You gotta step up when folks fall, Mama always said. Ain't nobody else gonna do it for us. Us. Black folks in Harlem are always the last to get help, first to get blamed. Aaliyah shook it off, focusing on the man. She loosened his collar, checked his airway as she'd seen on those late-night ER reruns. Hang in there, mister. Help's coming. Sirens wailed in the distance. Cutting through the city hummed like a knife. Within 5 minutes, the ambulance screeched up, paramedics spilling out with gear in tow. A young black nurse with braids tucked under her cap knelt beside Aaliyah. "What happened?" she asked, checking vitals quickly and efficiently. "He just dropped. No warning." "I called right away," Aaliyah said, her apron still smeared with diner grease. The team strapped an oxygen mask on him, started CPR, chest compressions thumping like a drum beat. Aaliyah backed up, heart pounding, but she couldn't tear her eyes away. As they loaded him onto the gurney, the nurse glanced her way. "You're the one who found him? Come with us. He might need a witness, or you saw something." Aaliyah hesitated. Her shift had ended hours ago. Mama was waiting at home with her bad back and the bills piling up. But something tugged at her gut, that same pull from Mama's collapse. "Yeah, okay," she nodded, climbing into the ambulance. The doors slammed shut, sealing her in with the beeps and the stranger's ragged breaths. The ride to Mount Sinai was a whirlwind. Monitors beeped erratically, paramedics barking orders. "Push epi! Vitals dropping!" Aaliyah squeezed into the corner, her back against the cold metal wall, watching the man's chest rise and fall in jerky spasms. Who was he? His wallet peeked from his pocket, but she didn't touch it. The last thing she needed was someone thinking she was rifling through his stuff. In Harlem, folks like her got accused first, asked questions never. She remembered the time in high school when a teacher yanked her backpack, convinced she'd stolen a classmate's lunch money. Turned out it was the rich kid next door, but no apology came. Just a shrug and, "Be more careful next time." Aaliyah bit her lip, pushing the bitterness down. Not now. The ambulance jolted to a stop at the ER entrance. Doors flew open, and the gurney wheeled out in a frenzy, disappearing through swinging doors marked trauma. Aaliyah stepped out into the fluorescent-lit waiting room, her legs wobbly. Nurses bustled past, clipboards in hand, ignoring her stained apron and tired eyes. She should have bolted, grabbed the subway home, crashed on the lumpy couch. But that gut feeling held her back. What if he needed her story? What if he didn't make it? She slumped into a plastic chair, the kind that stuck to your thighs, and pulled out her phone. No bars, figures. Time dragged. 20 minutes. 30. Her mind wandered to Harrison Blackwell, though she didn't know his name yet. In her head, she pieced him together. Mid-40s, clean-shaven, expensive watch glinting under the ambulance lights. Probably some CEO type, the kind who jetted off to the Hamptons while folks like her scraped by on minimum wage. But his eyes in that brief flicker, they'd held something raw, a desperation she'd seen in her own mirror after Mama's accident. 2 years ago, a slip on icy stairs had shattered Olivia's spine, leaving her in a wheelchair and Aaliyah as the sole breadwinner. Medicaid fights, landlord threats, endless shifts, it all blurred into one exhausting grind. "You're tougher than this city," Mama would say. But some days, Aaliyah wondered, a commotion snapped her back. Doctors in scrubs rushed past, muttering about stabilizing and next of kin. Aaliyah stood, peering down the hall, but security waved her off. "Family only." She sank back down, rubbing her temples. Why was she even here? Kindness, that's why. Pure, stupid kindness in a world that chewed it up and spat it out. But deep down, she knew. It was the only thing keeping her from turning as cold as the streets outside. Little did Aaliyah know that the man she'd saved was Harrison Blackwell, a billionaire haunted by the car crash that stole his wife and daughter 2 years prior. Black ice on a Vermont road, tires screeching, glass shattering. Nights since then were endless voids filled with ghosts and guilt. He'd wandered through Harlem that evening, lost in grief until his heart gave out. And now because of her, he had a shot at pulling through. As the clock ticked toward midnight, Aaliyah whispered to herself, should have kept walking. But she hadn't. She'd chosen to stop, to help, to stay. And that choice, it was about to crack open doors she never knew existed and slam others shut forever. Aaliyah sat in the ER waiting room at Mount Sinai, the fluorescent lights buzzing like angry bees overhead, casting harsh shadows on the linoleum floor, scuffed by 1,000 frantic footsteps. Her apron still reeked of fryer grease and spilled coffee, a badge of her endless shift. But she ignored it, scrolling mindlessly through her phone to kill time. The clock on the wall ticked slowly as molasses, each second stretching her nerves thinner. Nurses zipped by, barking orders into walkie-talkies, while families huddled in clusters, whispering prayers or cursing fate. Aaliyah should have bounced, hopped the A train back to her cramped apartment, where Mama waited with her pain meds and a reheated plate of collards. But nah, something glued her butt to that hard plastic chair. Maybe it was the guy's eyes, that flicker of desperation before he blacked out. Or maybe it was just her damn conscience, always dragging her into messes she didn't sign up for. She checked her texts. Nothing from work, thank God. Raoul, her boss at the diner, would have chewed her out for ditching early, but she'd clocked out legit. Still, guilt gnawed at her. Bills didn't pay themselves, and with Mama's wheelchair ramps eating up every extra dime, one missed shift could mean lights out. Literally, Aaliyah rubbed her eyes, exhaustion settling in like fog over the Hudson. Harlem raised her too. Single mom, food stamps, dodging creeps on the block. But tonight hit differently. Saving a stranger, that was new territory. A burst of commotion yanked her head up. Double doors swung open, and in stormed a tall, elegant woman with silver hair pinned in a tight chignon, pearls choking her neck as they owned her. Her coat screamed money, cashmere probably, and her heels clicked sharp as gunshots on the tile. "Where is he? Where's my son?" she barked at the intake nurse, voice slicing through the room like a whip. The nurse pointed toward a side room, but the woman's eyes snagged on Aaliyah first. She paused, gaze raking over the stained apron, the tired brown skin, the kinky curls escaping her ponytail. "You!" she snapped, stepping closer, her perfume hitting like a floral assault. Aaliyah blinked, caught off guard. "Ma'am?" She stood slowly, hands raised like she was calming a stray dog. The woman's face twisted, fury mixed with something uglier, deeper. "You heard him, didn't you? You were there when he collapsed." Aaliyah nodded, swallowing hard. "Yeah, I found him on the street. He just dropped. I called 911. The words tumbled out, simple truth, but the woman's eyes narrowed to slits. "You touched him," she hissed, closing the gap. "People like you always sniff out weakness. His wallet better still be there, or so help me." Aaliyah's breath hitched. "I didn't take anything. I helped him. Rode in the ambulance. Stayed to make sure." But the woman cut her off with a sharp laugh, cold as ice. "Helped? You think I buy that? Girls like you from up here in Harlem, always scheming to claw your way into our world." She leaned in, voice dropping to a venomous whisper. "I know your type, playing the hero to snag a payout." Aaliyah's cheeks burned, but she held her ground. "That's not me. I don't want your money. I just saw a man down and—" The slap came fast, a crack echoing through the waiting room like thunder. Aaliyah staggered back, hand flying to her cheek, the sting blooming hot and immediate. Gasps rippled from the other patients. A Latino dad with his kid, an old black lady clutching her purse. But nobody moved. In ERs like this, folks minded their business unless blood hit the floor. Tears pricked Aaliyah's eyes, but she blinked them away, jaw set. "Please," she whispered, voice cracking despite her resolve. "I didn't do anything wrong." But the woman wasn't done. She lunged forward, grabbing a fistful of Aaliyah's hair, yanking her head back viciously. Pain shot through her scalp, roots screaming. "If he wakes up worse off, I'll ruin you," she snarled, face inches away, spit flecking Aaliyah's skin. "I'll make sure you never sling another burger in this city. I'll bury your name so deep, even your own mama won't remember it." Aaliyah's knees buckled, but she didn't fall. Memories crashed in like a tidal wave. 10 years old, clutching a lunchbox Mama scraped together from food pantry scraps. The white teacher accused her of stealing it, dragging her to the principal's office while classmates snickered. "Thieves like you don't belong here," the teacher had said. No apology when the truth came out, just a pat on the head and, "Run along now." Then the landlord last winter, refusing to fix the heat. "Y'all are always complaining, always cold. Tough it out." And now this, saving a life, and bam, labeled a thief because of her skin, her zip code. Aaliyah's chest tightened, rage bubbling under the hurt. "I was just trying to help," she gasped, tears burning tracks down her face. "Help?" The woman spat, releasing her hair with a shove. You think people like you help people like us? Stay in your lane, girl. Nurses finally jumped in, two burly guys pulling the woman back, murmuring, "Ma'am, calm down," like she was the victim. Security hovered, but nobody cuffed her. Money talked, even in chaos. The woman straightened her coat, shooting Aaliyah one last glare before storming toward the intake room. "This isn't over," she muttered over her shoulder. Aaliyah slid down the wall, shaking, breath coming in ragged bursts. Not from the pain, nah, she'd taken worse hits on the block, but from the humiliation, the assumption that was drilled into her soul. Every nerve fired with echoes of, "You people, your type," words that cut deeper than any slap. She touched her cheek, feeling the welt rising, and bit back a sob. Why'd she stay? Kindness got her nothing but this. A fresh bruise and a reminder that, in this city, good deeds for folks like her came with a price tag. But deep down, under the anger, a spark flickered. She wasn't broken. Not yet. As the ER buzz settled, Aaliyah wiped her face, stood up straight, and whispered to herself, "You ain't nobody's punching bag." Little did she know, the man she'd saved was stirring in his room, his mind already turning toward the stranger who'd pulled him from the edge. Harrison Blackwell stirred in the sterile haze of his hospital bed at Mount Sinai, the steady beep of monitors pulling him from a foggy dream. Tires screeching on black ice, his wife's scream echoing, his daughter's tiny hand slipping away. 2 years since that nightmare crash in Vermont, and every wake-up felt like drowning all over again. He blinked against the harsh lights, throat dry as sandpaper. A nurse hovered, adjusting his IV. "You're awake," she said softly, her braids swinging as she checked his chart. "Where?" Harrison croaked, trying to sit up. Pain shot through his chest, pinning him back. "Easy, Mr. Blackwell. You collapsed on the street. Heart episode. You're stable now." The room spun into focus. Private suite, of course, with its crisp sheets and skyline view. Perks of being a billionaire, even when your ticker quits on you. But his mind snagged on something else. A voice, soft and urgent, hands warm on his freezing skin. "The girl?" he rasped. "There was a girl." The nurse nodded. "Yeah, she called 911. Rode with you in the ambulance. Stayed a bit, but left after your mom showed up." Harrison's brow furrowed. "What's her name?" "Didn't say. Just that she saw you go down." He stared at the ceiling, fragments piecing together. For the first time in months, someone had cut through his silence. A stranger? "Find her," he whispered. The nurse hesitated. "Sir, you need rest." But he grabbed her arm gently. "Please, I gotta know who she is." She nodded and slipped out. Harrison exhaled, chest tight. Not from the attack, but emotion cracking open. Since Dana and Lily died, he'd been a ghost, running Blackwell Global like a machine. Board meetings blending into sleepless nights. Friends drifted, family tiptoed. But tonight that voice echoed, "Hang in there." No one had said anything real to him in ages. He closed his eyes, not in fear, but with a spark flickering alive. Across town, Aaliyah trudged up the creaky stairs to her apartment building, the slap's sting throbbing on her cheek, scalp aching where that witch had yanked her hair. Harlem's streets hummed with late-night energy, salsa blasting from a window, a group of teens laughing on the stoop. But she kept her head down, steps heavy. The humiliation burned worse than the bruise. She unlocked the door quietly, slipping inside. Mama, Olivia, dozed in her wheelchair by the TV, an old sitcom flickering blue light across her face. A crocheted blanket draped her lap, pain meds scattered on the side table. Aaliyah dropped her purse on the kitchen counter, staring at her reflection in the microwave door. The welt bloomed purple, eyes red-rimmed. "Damn," she muttered, touching it gingerly. That woman's voice looped in her head. "People like you." Like what? Black? Poor? Both? She brewed chamomile tea, Mama's go-to for rough nights, and sat beside her, gently shaking her shoulder. "Mama, I'm home." Olivia stirred, blinking slowly. "Late again. Everything okay?" Her eyes sharpened on the bruise. "What happened to your face?" Aaliyah hesitated, then shrugged. "Nothing big. Bumped into trouble. Olivia reached out, fingers tracing the mark. That ain't no bump. Somebody hit you. Aaliyah sighed, spilling it. The collapse, the ambulance, the slap. His mom thought I was robbing him or something. Called me a schemer. Olivia's jaw tightened, but she pulled Aaliyah's hand into hers. Folks like that see threats everywhere, especially from us. But you did right, baby. Helping ain't never wrong. Aaliyah's eyes burned. Feels wrong now. All I got was this. She touched her cheek. Olivia squeezed her hand. Pain fades. Pride doesn't. You got more heart than that whole hospital put together. They sipped tea in silence, the TV droning. Later in bed, Aaliyah scrolled through her phone, searching patient lists at Mount Sinai. No names, just numbers. Who was he? Didn't matter. But that look in his eyes haunted her. The same hollow desperation Mama had after her fall. She turned off the light, pulling covers tight, but sleep dodged her. Back at the hospital, Harrison's assistant, Marcus, strode in, tablet glowing, coffee in hand. Boss, you gotta rest. Harrison waved him off. I'm good. Did you find her? Marcus sighed, pulling up footage. Traffic cams caught it. EMT report says she used a burner phone. No name, but she rode with you. Harrison's eyes locked on the grainy video, her rushing over, apron flapping, kneeling without hesitation. She didn't flinch, he said quietly. Marcus nodded. Nope, we're tracking her. Diner uniform, Harlem address maybe. Harrison leaned back. I need to talk to her. What my mom did. Marcus hesitated. She went off in the ER. Security stepped in. Anger flared in Harrison's chest. Victoria always guarded like a hawk. But this? Crossed lines. The next morning, Aaliyah clocked in at the diner, cheek covered with makeup that didn't quite hide the bruise. Raoul eyed her. You look like hell. Door fight back? She forced a grin. Something like that. She poured coffee, wiped counters, and smiled at regulars. But inside, paranoia gnawed, expecting cops or that woman barging in. 3 hours in, the door jingled. A sharp-dressed black guy in a charcoal coat scanned the place, eyes landing on her. Marcus. Aaliyah stiffened, coffee pot gripped tight. Aaliyah Thompson? He asked, approaching slowly. Who's asking? Marcus Lee, assistant to Harrison Blackwell. The man you saved. Her jaw dropped. Blackwell. The name rang bells. Billboards, news clips, charity galas, untouchable money. I didn't know, she murmured. Marcus nodded. He knows. Wants to see you. Personally. Aaliyah glanced around. His mom. She doesn't want me near him. Marcus's face tightened. That was her mess. Mr. Blackwell's sorry. He sent me because he owes you big. He handed her a card. Penthouse at the plaza. No strings, just talk. He left, bell jingling behind. Aaliyah froze, then pocketed it. After the shift, she headed to the hospital instead of home. Closure, answers, dignity. She gave her name at the reception. You're the hero, the desk lady smiled. He's been asking since dawn. In the suite, Harrison sat up, reading files. He looked up, eyes lighting. You came. Aaliyah hovered by the door. Wasn't gonna, but curiosity? He smiled faintly. She stepped closer. I didn't know who you were. That's why it's real. His mom? She accused me. Harrison's face darkened. She's wrong. She'll apologize. Aaliyah shook her head. Not why I'm here. Then why? Your eyes. You looked lost. Harrison paused. I lost my wife and daughter 2 years ago. Crash. Been surviving, not living. His voice cracked. You pulled me back. Aaliyah softened. Let me thank you right, he said. Dinner. Safe spot. Just talk. Her gut screamed run, but her heart whispered stay. I'll think on it. That evening at the penthouse, Aaliyah showed up in a simple dress, boots scuffed. Harrison greeted her, casual in a sweater. You came. Fast thinker, she smirked. They ate, salmon, veggies, no flash. He listened to her story. Mama's fall, diner grind, racism's bite. Guilt eats me, she admitted. Left her alone that night. He nodded. I get it. Postponed a trip for work. Lost them. Silence fell, real, shared. Then the elevator dinged. Victoria. Harrison tensed. Mother? She eyed Aaliyah. Still here? Harrison stepped between. Enough, Victoria hissed, but he shut her down. She's not a threat. She's a partner. Victoria stormed out. Harrison turned. Sorry. Aaliyah met his eyes. Don't protect me. Stand beside me. And for the first time, she believed he would. Impressed by her grit, Harrison offered, join Blackwell Foundation, community assistant, hard over degrees. Aaliyah blinked. Why me? You see people. I need that. She nodded slowly. Okay. But in her estate, Victoria paced, phone in hand. He's being manipulated, she muttered, dialing Senator Hayes. The storm brewed. Aaliyah stared at the job offer on her cracked phone screen, Harrison's words echoing, community assistant at Blackwell Foundation. Start next week. Her heart raced. Triple the pay from slinging plates at the diner, benefits that could cover Mama's PT sessions, a shot at real change. But doubt crept in like Harlem fog. This for real? She muttered, pacing her tiny kitchen. Olivia wheeled in, eyeing her. What's got you fidgeting like a kid on sugar? Aaliyah spilled it. The dinner, the slap down with Victoria, the offer. Olivia's eyes widened. A billionaire handing you keys? Watch your back, baby. Folks like that don't give without strings. Aaliyah nodded, but excitement won. It's legit, Mama. He sees me, not just the apron. She texted Harrison. I'm in. At Blackwell Global's sleek tower downtown, Harrison paced his corner office, the skyline sprawling below like a conquered kingdom. Marcus burst in, tablet glowing. You sure about this? Board's buzzing. Hiring a diner girl with no resume? Harrison shot him a look. She's got heart. That's gold in philanthropy. He fired off the email. Aaliyah's contract, starting salary that'd make eyes pop. But across the city in her Upper East Side penthouse, Victoria Blackwell scrolled the same news on her phone, lips curling. He's lost it, she hissed, dialing fast. Reginald? It's Victoria. We've got a problem. Senator Reginald Hayes leaned back in his leather chair, Capitol Hill traffic humming outside his window. A conservative firebrand, he'd built his career blocking social reforms, welfare cuts, anti-immigration bills, the works. Harrison's dad had been a rival back in the day, their companies clashing over real estate deals. Now Victoria's voice crackled through the speaker. My son's throwing money at some Harlem hustler. She's worming in. Foundation gig. The works. Hayes chuckled low. Sounds like a gold digger play. What's the angle? Victoria's tone sharpened. Ruin her, dig up dirt, leak it, make her toxic. Hayes paused, wheels turning. Blackwell Foundation's pushing community crap could hurt my donors. Consider it done. He hung up, barking at his aide. Pull files on Aaliyah Thompson. Everything, taxes, arrests, the dirtier the better. Aaliyah's first day hit like a whirlwind. She showed up in her best thrift blazer, nerves buzzing. The foundation's office hummed, desks cluttered with grant proposals, walls plastered with photos of kids in after-school programs. Harrison greeted her personally, no suit, just jeans and a hoodie. Welcome aboard. Tour? He walked her through, introducing staff who nodded politely but eyed her apron scars. You'll handle outreach, Harlem first. You know the streets better than any suit here. Aaliyah grinned faintly lie. Yeah, lived 'em. By lunch, she dove in, calling local schools, brainstorming mentorship hooks. For the first time, work felt like purpose, not punishment, but shadows lurked. That afternoon, Hayes' team struck gold, or faked it. An anonymous tip hit the tabloids. Grainy photos of Aaliyah's old tax forms, mismatched income from diner tips, whispers of fraud. Headlines screamed, Blackwell's new hire, welfare queen or worse. Social media blew up, trolls piling on. Gold digger alert. Saved his life? More like saved her wallet. Aaliyah's phone buzzed nonstop. Friends texting screenshots, mama calling frantic. Baby, they're saying you scammed unemployment. Aaliyah's stomach knotted, scrolling through the lies. Her past, food stamps as a kid, bounced checks during mama's hospital stays, twisted into scams. This ain't me, she whispered, fists clenched. Victoria sipped scotch in her study, watching the storm brew on her laptop. Phase 1, she muttered. Hayes texted. Leak 2 incoming. Old landlord dirt. Sure enough, by evening, blogs dropped exclusives. Aaliyah's former landlord claiming late rents, loud parties, and eviction threats. Fabricated emails surfaced, proving she'd begged Harrison for the job post-rescue. Twitter lit up. Blackwell scam trending. Harrison called Aaliyah immediately. You seen this crap? Yeah, she said, voice steady but cracking. They're lying. I know, PR's on it. Hang tight. But doubt flickered in her gut. Was this the price of crossing lines? Night fell hard. Aaliyah got home late. Apartment dark except Mama's TV glow. Olivia wheeled over, face etched with worry. Saw the news, you okay? Aaliyah slumped. The bruise from the slap faded, but fresh hurts were piling on. They're dragging us through mud, Mama. My old taxes? That was survival, not stealing. Olivia pulled her close. Folks scared of you rising. Keep climbing. But sleep evaded Aaliyah, phone lighting with notifications. Harassment DMs, threats. Stay in your lane, bitch. She blocked them, but the venom stuck. The next morning, escalation hit. Aaliyah stepped out to garbage cans overturned, spray paint scarring her door. Gold digger, go home. Glass shattered from a brick through the window, shards glittering on the stoop. Neighbors peeked but scattered. Mama! Aaliyah rushed in, finding Olivia shaken but safe. Who'd do this? Olivia whispered, clutching her blanket. Aaliyah's blood boiled. This wasn't random. It reeked of setup. She called the cops, but they shrugged. Vandalism. File a report. No leads, no care. At the foundation, whispers followed her, staff eyeing her sideways, meeting stalling. Harrison pulled her aside. This is targeted. My mom's fingerprints are all over. Aaliyah's eyes flashed. And that senator buddy of hers? They're gunning for me. He nodded grimly. We'll fight back. But you good? She straightened. I ain't folding. Grew up dodging worse. But inside, tension coiled. Tummo about their next move, fear mixing with fire. The storm wasn't brewing anymore. It was breaking. Aaliyah stared at the graffiti-scarred door of her apartment, the red paint dripping like blood. Gold digger, bitch. Shards of glass crunched under her boots from the smashed window, and inside, Mama huddled in her wheelchair. Blanket pulled tight, eyes wide with fear she'd never shown before. They came while I was napping, Olivia whispered, voice trembling. Aaliyah's gut twisted. This wasn't kids messing around. It reeked of payback. She swept up the mess, hands shaking, but her mind raced to the headlines blasting her phone. Thompson's tax troubles, fraud or fiction? Senator Hayes's fingerprints were all over it, digging up her old IRS forms from diner days. Tips underreported by pennies, survival scraps twisted into scams. She slammed the broom down, chest heaving. This ain't random, Mama. They're gunning for me. Olivia reached out, fingers cold. Call that Blackwell fella. He got pull. Aaliyah shook her head. Can't lean on him. Makes me look weak. But doubt gnawed. Was this the end? 1 week in the job, and already buried under lies. She grabbed her coat, kissing Mama's forehead. Lock up tight. I'll handle it. Outside, Harlem buzzed indifferent. Vendors hawking roasted nuts, kids dodging puddles. But Aaliyah felt eyes everywhere, paranoia spiking like a bad high. At the foundation office, whispers hit her like slaps. Staff averted eyes, coffee room chatter dying when she walked in. Morning, she muttered to Jamila, the program coordinator, who forced a smile but clutched her mug tighter. Aaliyah's desk waited, piled with outreach plans for Harlem kids, mentorship hooks, free lunches. But her screen glowed with emails. Donors pulling back, concerned about recent reports. Her phone buzzed. Harrison. You see the IRS crap? Yeah, she said, voice flat. They're saying I fudged taxes back in 17. Lies. He paused. It's Hayes. Pushed an audit through back channels. PR's spinning, but it's bad. She hung up, sinking into her chair, flashbacks hitting hard. 2017, Mama's fall, hospital bills stacking like bricks. Aaliyah juggled double shifts, cash tips stuffed in socks to dodge overdraft fees. Forms. She filed them sloppy, No accountant, just prayer and a library computer. Honest mistake, she told the IRS back then, paying fines with scraped-together dimes. Now headlines screamed criminal intent. Photos of her old W-2s leaked, and numbers were doctored to look like theft. Twitter tore her apart. Welfare queen climbs the ladder. On our taxes. Blackwell's blind, hiring trash. Her throat tightened, tears pricking, but she blinked them back. No crying here. Harlem girls don't break in public. The door burst open. Marcus, face grim, tablet in hand. Boss wants you in his office. Board's calling an emergency. Aaliyah stood, legs leaden, following him down the hall. Whispers trailed. Thinks she'll get canned? In Harrison's office, he paced, phone glued to his ear. No, it's fabricated. Yes, we're auditing internally. He hung up, turning. Donors are spooked. 2 pulled funding for the Harlem Center. Aaliyah's stomach dropped. Because of me? He nodded. Hayes tied it to you. Says you're a risk, draining the foundation. She clenched her fists. I ain't draining nothing. This is payback for crossing lines. Harrison rubbed his temples. Victoria's feeding him ammo. Old landlord? He flipped. Claimed you trashed the place. Owed back rent. All BS, but it's sticking. Aaliyah's mind flashed. That sleazy landlord, leering at her curves, hiking rent, 'cause girls like you bring trouble. She'd fought evictions tooth and nail, paid every cent late, but paid. Now his lies fueled the fire. Dug up my taxes too, she said, voice low. From when Mama broke her back. I was scraping by. Tips, side gigs. Forms got messy. Harrison met her eyes. I believe you, but the audit's real. IRS knocking tomorrow. Panic clawed up her spine, but she shoved it down. What now? Fight or fold? He leaned forward. Fight. Lawyers on it, but you gotta speak up. Board meeting in an hour. Aaliyah nodded, but inside rage boiled. This wasn't just about her. It hit Mama, the kids she'd planned programs for, the community she'd clawed out of. Stigmatizing memories surged. Schoolyard taunts, job rejections because her name sounded ethnic, cops profiling her on the block. Always the villain, she muttered. Harrison touched her arm. You're not. We'll prove it. The boardroom hummed with tense suits around a polished table, eyes drilling her as she entered. Victoria joined via video, smirk hidden but vibe icy. Ms. Thompson, the chair said, these allegations, fraud, manipulation, care to explain? Aaliyah straightened, voice steady. Ain't true, my past, rough, yeah. But I earned every dime honestly. This audit, set up to bury me. Whispers rippled. Victoria's voice crackled. Convenient. My son's blinded by pity. Harrison slammed his hand down. Enough, mother. She's an asset, not a liability. Debate raged. Donors fleeing, rep at stake. Aaliyah's cheek burned from the slap, fueling her. Y'all see headlines, not me. I built those outreach plans from scratch. For kids like I was. One board member nodded slowly. Numbers check out internally. But another fired. Public's eating it up. We cut her loose? Tension peaked, air thick. Harrison locked eyes with Aaliyah. No, we stand by her. She exhaled sharply, gratitude mixing with fire. But as the meeting wrapped, her phone buzzed. An anonymous text. Quit or else. She deleted it, jaw set. This assault on her name? It wasn't breaking her. It was forging steel. Aaliyah slammed her laptop shut, the board meeting's echoes ringing in her ears like a bad hangover. No more hiding, she muttered, pacing her office, the city skyline mocking her through the window. The IRS audit loomed tomorrow. Agents sniffing for blood, headlines already crowing, Thompson's downfall. Her phone buzzed nonstop, trolls DMing threats, donors bailing, even Raoul from the diner texting. You in deep. But she wasn't crumbling. Nah, Harlem blood ran thick. Survive the block. Survive this. She grabbed her keys. Time to flip the script. She didn't call Harrison first. No leaning on his lawyers or cash. This fight? Hers. Back home, Olivia wheeled into the kitchen, face set. You look ready to burn it down. Aaliyah nodded, firing up her webcam. Gonna tell my truth. No filters. She hit record, staring down the lens, heart pounding but voice steady. I'm Aaliyah Thompson. Grew up in Harlem, raised by a single mom on tips and grit. Worked diners where folks stiffed me on change and called it charity. I've been accused, audited, vandalized, 'cause I saved a man's life and dared to rise. She paused, eyes fierce. These lies about taxes, fraud, that's survival, not stealing. Mama broke her back. I scraped by. Now they're twisting it to keep me small. She leaned in. But I ain't small, and neither is the truth. The video wrapped raw. No edits, just her in a hoodie. Bruise faded but fire lit. She uploaded it to YouTube, titled My Side, From Diner to Defended. Then the big move. She hacked together a quick site, blackwellledger.com, uploading every foundation's financial scrap. Grants, donations, expenses, searchable, color-coded, third-party verified. Let 'em see, she texted Marcus. No secrets. He replied quickly. Boss okay this? His foundation, my call, she shot back. Within hours, the portal went live, links blasting across socials. Harrison's phone exploded. Board members panicking. She's exposing us. He watched her video first, jaw-dropping. Gutsy, he murmured, pride swelling. He called her. You didn't wait for a green light. Didn't need it, she said, voice edged. This is my name they're dragging. Silence then. Smart. We're backing it. He rallied the team. Lawyers digging into leaks, PR pushing the video. By noon, views hit 6 figures. Comments flooded. Queen spilling tea. Finally, real talk from the streets. Community chats lit up. Black Twitter rallying, round show stand with Aaliyah trending, memes roasting Hayes as Senator smear. Public opinion flipped like a switch. Protests sparked outside Hayes' office. Folks chanting truth over lies, signs waving Aaliyah's face. Donors who'd bailed circled back. Transparency, that's gold. Even skeptics bit. A CNN anchor admitted, this woman's turning the tables. Aaliyah's inbox overflowed. Support from teachers, single moms, vets. You speaking for us. Her chest swelled, tears pricking. Not weakness, but power. They tried to bury me, she whispered to Mama over tea. Olivia grinned. But you grew roots. Harrison's crew struck gold mid-afternoon. Marcus burst in. Got him. Leaks traced to Hayes' aid. IP logs, dummy emails. Harrison's eyes narrowed. Fabricated docs? Yup. Tax forms doctored. Signatures forged. He called in favors. FBI tip line. Anonymous but ironclad. By evening, headlines shifted. Senator Hayes under fire. Abuse of power? Leaked chats surfaced. Victoria texting Hayes. Make it stick. She's poison. Socials erupted. Karma's a beast. Hayes' office scrambled, denying everything, but the damage stuck like glue. Victoria watched from her penthouse, scotch trembling in her hand. News looped her texts, board calling an emergency. Damn her, she hissed, but doubt crept. Harrison's fury in texts. Your mess. Own it. She paced, pearls clacking, then typed, public statement tomorrow. I was wrong. No apology, but close. Admission of misjudgment. She hit send to her PR, gut churning. For the first time, the queen bee felt the sting. Aaliyah refreshed her video. 2 million views. Protests growing. Harrison showed up at her door unannounced, takeout in hand. You did it. Tide's turning. She let him in, exhaustion fading to hope. We did. Your team's exposed, nailed him. He set down bags. Hayes is toast. Investigation launched. Mom's backing off. Aaliyah's eyes softened. Feels good, like breathing free. They ate in quiet, the city humming below. For once, the weight lifted, community roaring back, lies crumbling. She wasn't just surviving, she was winning. And there you have it, folks. The incredible journey of Aaliyah Thompson, a woman whose simple act of kindness on a cold Harlem street didn't just save a life, it shattered barriers and built a legacy of hope. This story reminds us that true resilience isn't about never falling. It's about rising stronger, turning prejudice into power, and lifting others along the way. In a world quick to judge, one person's grit can spark change that echoes for generations. Have you ever turned a moment of hardship into your own unbreakable strength? Share your story in the comments below. I'd love to hear how you've overcome the odds and inspired those around you. Stick around, because next time, we'll dive into another heartfelt tale of everyday heroes facing impossible challenges and coming out on top. Thanks so much for watching and being part of this community. It means the world. See you soon. Take care out there.